Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the GOWEN Racing Podcast here today, episode number 5 coming at you guys, and we got a lot of stuff to go over today. We have a brand new eNASCAR Coca Cola Series race to cover from Homestead, Miami. We got the Daytona Road Course from the past weekend to go over as well as usual. You got myself, Gary, here, but I am joined as usual by Jay,
Heyo.
Matt,
Hello.
as well as Eddie.
Hello.
But for the first part of this podcast, we actually have our very first guest here on the GOWEN Racing Podcast, and that is actual driver in the eNASCAR Coca Cola iRacing Series from Powhatan, Virginia, Garrett Manes for the Elliott Sadler Esports team in the number 2 Offerpad Toyota Camry. So, Garrett, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I think we were doing really good, and then
I said it
we'll go
wrong,
over it in
didn't I?
just a second. I'm gonna have to repronounce it to everyone that doesn't live from here, so it's okay.
I knew as I was saying it, I was like, I just screwed it up. It's Powhatan.
Yes, sir.
Powhatan. There we go, everybody. Powhatan, Virginia. There you have it. But yeah, Garrett, thank you for coming out. It's interesting how I was able to get you on here. We actually were in a iRace together last week at the Daytona Road Course, and I saw you in there. I knew immediately I was going to get destroyed, but I was like, I gotta. I think you were at least like 30 seconds in front of me, weren't you?
Well, I can thank Vicente Salas for showing me around because I was getting my butt handed to me all week until that. So, I can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then I saw you were in there. I was like, I gotta at least go for it here, and I DM'd you about it and managed to make it work out. You're the first one to actually respond to it, so we really appreciated that. It was a fun race with you when I saw you for about one lap, and then the rest was history. But yeah, so I mean, we're just gonna hop into it. We're gonna bring you on here for a little bit and talk to you just about the eNASCAR scene and whatnot. Now, as this is your rookie season here in the eNASCAR Coca Cola iRacing Series. So how, actually, before we really get into the questions, so far, how fun has it been, the experience of just getting into this series for the first time?
Well, I mean, the Clash was a really fun shakedown race. I mean, everybody was kind of just going for it there. We had a few cautions, but I mean, overall, it was a lot of fun racing, super aggressive, 3 wide the entire time, just everybody going balls to the wall for the win. Unfortunately, that bit us on the last lap, just with, you know, there's aggressive, and then there was like the last lap of the Clash. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we were on the bad end of that stick. We were P2 coming down the backstretch, and the guy on the inside really wanted up. So it was a poor situation, and we were just wrong place, wrong time. But totally fun race there. Had a lot of fun learning to race with those guys, and we actually had a really similar race go in the season opener at Daytona. We started towards the back. We got hit coming onto pit road both times, unfortunately. That put us behind the 8 ball with damage, but we still came out the leader on the final pit stop. And unfortunately, because of the damage, we could not lead the race, but we were sitting right there in P4, P3, whatever you want to call it, on the last lap. And unfortunately, connection was not our friend coming off the final corner, and the entire field died, and we were in that one. Unavoidable. Just that's Daytona for you,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah.
But we had really solid momentum going. Once again tonight, started towards the back, and just 3 laps in, disconnected. And then like 15 laps in, disconnected. And then almost disconnected again. I had my spotter driving me around the track. So like
Oh my
I
God.
disappeared,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And I can't see anybody on the track, but I'm still on the track from my spotter and everyone else. And so I'm driving around these cars, and I'm like, I can't see, so I need you to tell me where they are. And so basically, we're going around. He's like, 3 in front, 2 in front, 1, you're there. And I'm just
Oh
like,
no.
this is cool. I really hope he
man.
can see me.
Oh my
Because this is
God.
going to be one of those situations where it looks like you just, go full clown and drive through somebody, but I really couldn't see him. And then eventually I fell through, but it was really weird. Like I could speak the entire time. I actually came back for one period of time. Like I disappeared, came back like 2 laps later, no problem, and then, of course, I got the boot, again, so but at the end of the day, we actually had a really good car. Um, I think my teammates had some issues tonight, but I feel like we were making strides in the right direction. Homestead's not a good track for me. And at the end of the race, just because of how this whole mess went down in this race, I'm sure if anybody like watched it, I'm not sure if the announcers really covered it, but there was a lot of people that were, you know, just pretty disappointed with the way it went
Absolutely.
down. It threw everybody's strategy off, and so I ended up making it a one stop. I screwed up and didn't take tires. That was a
Oh
freaking
no.
mess.
Oh
So
god.
because I lag out, you uncheck your tires, in case you lag out early, but we didn't think about it. If you lag out later and you tow and you don't put tires on, we still had the fuel checked. And so I pull out of the pits and I am literally just toasting the right rear tire. Like you think it was loose before. There was no right rear tire when I pit. I short pit like
Mhm.
massively. As soon as I could come in, I pit 42 laps early. I had 30% on my right rear, and I
Oh.
could not have been driving any slower. I mean, I was like half a second off the pace. I was driving so slow with that. And yeah, you can already see how that was going. So we got it the fresh tires put back on. And I feel like we learned from that race. If anything came away from it, I feel like we gained some confidence and we learned how to race in the aero. I don't know if it'll stick around. Tonight was interesting, but it definitely changed the aspects of the way the cup races go. And I'm sure I'm probably gonna be answering a lot of your questions here just in this rant, but it was it was a night.
Yeah, I mean, they actually, I was surprised they went green the whole way. I remember we had Homestead last year as the season finale, and like the end of that race was just insanity. But of course, we mentioned you had the whole connection issue. A bunch of other drivers had the same. Most notably, I remember Ray Alfala had the same issue. So, did you get a full-on explanation from iRacing about what the situation was over there?
So from my understanding, it was a Comcast issue, like widespread. Whether or not that is the, the way it actually happened or the reason it happened, I don't know because it was just weird the way it went down. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that it was iRacing servers by any means. It could have been the, you know, internet provider to their servers. I don't know how that stuff works, but it was just interesting how nothing else went down, just iRacing.
Right.
But then again, I mean, in iRacing, if you have a packet drop for a split second, you're done. So,
Yeah.
Discord don't work that way. You can have a packet loss and you don't hear my voice for a second. But it's just unfortunate how that happened. I think, iRacing explained themselves in an email and what happened, and it's frustrating for the guys. But to be fair, if they'd re-racked them and started it up again, we lagged out numerous times.
Yeah.
And if they had waved us around and threw a comp yellow, same problem. So it's unfortunate, but you can't. There wasn't really a solution. So I can't knock them for the way they handled it. Like in the moment, it was extremely frustrating, and I mean, it's still really
Yeah.
unfortunate and
Yeah.
very frustrating. But like, I can't direct my frustration at them because imagine being Keegan who won the race and getting
Mhm.
it stripped from you because you know Comcast has an issue. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
really not fair for any parties involved.
No.
Any of the solutions, somebody's gonna be hurt by it. So you know, there's no winners here.
Yeah, I felt really bad for you guys because, like, you think about it, like, there's a lot of money on the line now, of course, throughout the whole season. And what is it, like, up to like 300 and something thousand total?
Yeah, and that's the part that really, is unfortunate is it's gotten really serious and there's a lot of people that invest a lot of time and money into this. I know me personally, I was up till almost 5 in the morning yesterday, got up for work this morning, and then had to leave work early so I can come home and make sure the car was done. I did not finish for the car I was running until I think it was 8:20
Oh
is when
boy.
I ran my final run. I mean, I have turned a ton of laps and so is like everyone on my team to
Mm,
get the cars ready. And everybody ran what they felt most comfortable with, which is why everybody was kind of all over the place on our team with their pace. But just, I mean, we started on the setup a month ago. So
holy
that's what's so
crap.
frustrating is like when you work on something for that long and maybe you didn't hit on it right, or you literally didn't get an opportunity to show at all. I mean, lap 3, dude.
Yeah, I
You're
feel
Just
the
out.
same thing.
it was upsetting. But I mean, we still got to race around some of those guys like you said, Ray Alfala, Zelensky, Bolin, Justice, some of the really big names in the series got the boot too. So we were on track with them. I felt really confident with our pace. We were in the ballpark, or I feel like potentially in the ballpark. You don't really know unless you're in the identical situations, but I was happy with where we started considering, rookie season, first mile and a half race at a track I'm not too fond of. So, I don't really have any other complaints.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have one more little quick thing. So iRacing, with the Coca Cola series this season, it's the first time they're doing the whole like win and you're in from the regular season into the playoffs. I personally have always been very against that. I would like to hear what you think of that.
I'm actually the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that format. I don't like it in NASCAR. I really don't like it as a driver, which I understand making it, but like as a fan, I understand the appeal. I I liked the old chase format better.
The 10 race format?
Yeah, I
Okay, yeah.
think that was so much better where you actually had a points race for 10 races. I mean, you actually crown at least a legitimate champion in the postseason. I mean, this
Mhm.
isn't football, so eliminating people isn't fair. But, in the end, a 10 race season, that's more fair. I mean, you got short track series that run 10 race seasons, and that's the whole thing. You're narrowing it down to 10 races where teams are going to put the most money forward. They're going to go try to win the races they can, and they got to perform in the others. It's not like you throw all your eggs into one basket, go try to get the win. Like, you get a well rounded champion, in my opinion. I don't like the fact that it all comes down to Phoenix. Even though I love Phoenix, which, you know, I would say it is a benefit for us to go to Phoenix for the championship.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's not my, it wouldn't be my choice of how to crown a champion. That being said, though, it's not my choice. So,
Yeah.
So
Like,
yeah, I mean, I myself, I kind of like, I've enjoyed a lot of the new playoff format in the past, just as kind of with the excitement it brings at times. But there's definitely a lot of flaws with it that needs to be kind of worked out, and I hope we get that in the future. But who knows? But I guess we'll dive in to the questions with you now, Garrett. So, how or when do you remember how old you were and how you got into the sport of NASCAR in general?
so my dad did go-karting for I think 23 years, and he was really successful in that. I did go-karting technically as a 5-year-old. Just it was kick karts, which is, I mean, they're not slow, but they're not, the dirt carts that, the adults or, younger
yeah.
kids or older kids, I guess, would be running today. Just, something to get me started. Didn't really take it, I wasn't serious into it or anything like that. But I got back into racing when I was 10, which, if you know what arena racing is, or if you've ever heard of it, it's my profile picture actually here.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's mini cup cars, tenth of a mile, high banked aluminum racetrack, painted so that the rubber literally like sticks to it. I mean, it is grip flip city. It's crazy. Like, you could literally go in, tap somebody, and they would roll.
Oh God.
So that that made it, you could do it by yourself actually. Technically speaking, you could grip flip by yourself, but it was the most fun racing I've done. Um just it's close quarters. It's basically Bristol. I mean, we're turning 7.8-second laps.
I
Um
just turned a YouTube video of it on. This is crazy.
yeah, it's something. There's a couple races of me that you can find out there. They're
Like,
they're a
sounds
Sounds
like
mad
fun
blast.
to watch.
fun. Yeah, it just sounds mad fun.
Yeah, and I've, since then I actually got into sim racing when I was probably 13 because I was going to go race legend cars down at Charlotte. and that was kind of my end to get into this stuff. Never intended to take it serious. Ended up getting into it pretty serious about 2 years ago, maybe three, but definitely two. Um, just kind of things build upon each other with getting opportunities and being with the right people. I've been with my current team, not with the same nameplate, but the same group basically for about 2 years now. And it's been really enjoyable to be able to hang out with them and grow together and be successful together. And just hoping that we can continue to do that from here on. And hopefully, with this being the rookie year in the Coke Series, we can put our best foot forward and go show them what we got.
Right. So you said you started what, sim racing in 2013?
I yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
No, actually no, 2015.
oh, okay.
I was 13 because I was 10 in 2012.
So 6 years. This is like your 6 year sim racing then. So you've made quite a bit of progress then in just 6 years. So like, what was your journey like just through sim racing in general to get into Coke? Like, what series did you do, and just kind of to work your way? I know you of course did like the little pro thing last year with those like Xfinity cars, but what kind of like came before that to get you to that point?
So, when I first started, I just kind of was running whatever. I was always more interested in the short track racing. So I got into that. I did that probably, I mean, I was pretty casual when I first got on. I don't even think my account was active half the time. 2016 season 4, right towards the end of the year, that's when I started running consistently super late models. Just, I got with the group of friends basically that I met on here, and I'd been running those for probably 6 months, 9 months. Eventually, moved on from that, went on to NASCAR stuff, started messing around with that, ran trucks. Trucks was back then, it was called Big Time C Fixed, and trucks didn't have a ton of draft. They had it was all tire saving. Like, it
Oh
was very
God.
different from what trucks is today. It was V6 tire model. It was drive the wheels off the car, no mistakes. Any mistake will literally be just time that you gave up, whether you got your tires hot or not. Like, you just could not give up time. And that was the style that I started in. B Fixed was very different too. It was a lot like the truck. Did that. Cup was, by the way, undrivable at the time if you didn't have like talent because there was so much horsepower. I remember back then I could not get through the dog leg to save my life. But we moved on from that and just over time just got with the
Mhm.
right people, learned what's going on with the cars and ran some open stuff. Ran NIS last year, got me pretty accustomed to racing good competition and made it through RTP. And by the way, short tracks is definitely the reason I made pro because that was my strong suit. Having that short track experience from when I first came up allowed me to excel at those tracks. Road courses were a strong suit too, just not at the same level, and that pushed me over the edge into pro, and that was where I got my first win in RTP as well as in the pro series, and that set me on a much easier path through the pro series, to get me into the Coke series.
Hmm.
Right now, so that's got you to your rookie season here in the Coca Cola series. So every year they had, well, a few years ago they had like the draft, quote unquote. And I remember Ray Alfala, he was like the first pick. He went to like Wood Brothers, and now he's over on I don't even remember the
JDR.
Joe Gibbs, yeah, with that Rowdy Energy sponsored car. So I guess they had it was like the free agency over this off season, and like we're always like really curious because we don't fully understand how that legitimately works. I was under the impression originally that it was like the team names just felt like they were just kind of slapping a name on it, and that was all they were doing, and then it was like something behind the scenes going on. But like, how does that work for you? Like, what was the signing process like? Like, who approaches you? Just how does it all work?
Well, I'm glad it's not the draft anymore because nobody liked the draft. Free agency in the past, like there have been other world championship series that I've either been a part of or just witnessed where it was more of a slap your name on the car
Okay.
than it was, a mutual benefit.
Right.
Nowadays, you get call on free agency like when it opens. You're getting calls, you're getting emails. I was sitting at work and I was on the phone while I was doing my job for like probably a good 6 hours
Oh
with
God.
different
Oh
team
my
owners and
god.
just writing things down, basically what they were offering, scaling my options. I honestly like, unless I got some outlandishly good option, there are three guys on Elliott Sadler Esports that drive in the Coke series. They're two spots. So basically, it was whoever got the best deal outside of, you know, ESE was going to end up, anybody could take their offer if everybody wanted to go somewhere else, but all wanted to be at Elliott Sadler Esports, and it was definitely by far the best choice, best team that you could be on. I mean, Elliott's been pouring his time and effort into it. It's just been, a great experience to be able to be a part of, you know, a great group. And
Mm.
he actually
Yeah,
had a large input, by the way, on the car I ran tonight, which
Okay.
I was very
Okay.
happy that you know, you take his advice and you go faster. I like that.
from a little bit that I've seen on Twitter, because I follow Elliot Sadler on Twitter. Every time that I see him tweet, it's him mentioning his esports team and him hyping it up and talking about it and having a lot of. It seems like he has a lot to do with the team, so that doesn't surprise me at all that he has his foot quite largely in the door there and handles a lot of the things going on and has a lot of enthusiasm about that team that he started.
Yeah, there's been a lot of a lot of involvement from him, and that's what's really cool is, maybe in the past other teams have been more of a, just a name. I don't think that's the
Hmm.
same this year as it is or it's been in the past, but it is definitely like not even in the same, it's on the opposite side of the field with what we got going on at Elliott Sadler Esports. It's probably one of the most involved teams. It's definitely ranked up there, so it's really cool to be a part of that.
I think that's awesome that like
Yeah.
a guy like Sadler is getting so involved and actually like investing the time into it. If his DMs on Twitter are open, I need to get him on the podcast if possible. uh, ask him some questions too. I would actually really like to hear about like the owner side of it. That'd be kind of cool as well. But yeah, like I said, I think it's awesome that they're getting more involved because that's kind of the impression we had was like before a few seasons ago they were just slapping a name on it and that was all they were doing. So we were not really into it at that time, but like you said, it seems to be getting more involved and it's definitely making it overall a better product. It's been cool to see like McLaren get involved, and then of course we got JGR that came in last year, and then a few teams have left and stuff. But overall, I really like the direction it's heading. But of course, Garrett, being your rookie season in the Coca Cola series, how high have you set the bar? Like, what goals do you have right now for this season?
Okay, so my goal is going to be set not low because it's not easy, but not to the point where, it's like some stressful goal that I really want to reach. Um, I'm going to say I want to stay in the series. I feel like
Okay.
that's very fair to say. I do not want to be relegated back to pro because I can tell you there was a 6-week period in which I did not sleep
Oh
and
God.
I did not function for like 3 or 4 weeks afterward. I mean, we're talking I went to work and this was the thing. Like we
Mhm.
were right around the Christmas time when this was going on. And so, everybody was buying sim rigs at this time. So I was working 8.5 hours a day. I was working weekends for other things. I wasn't actually like in the shop. I was doing installs. I was gone. Not to mention, every second I had, I was testing. I mean, we turned thousands of laps. Take an Excel page and then make multiple per week. That's what we were doing. We were
Oh my
just
god.
filling up spreadsheets with lap times. It was insane.
I
So,
can, I can feel some of the pain because I'm a engineer with like Excel sheets and like just doing like I do a lot of testing stuff, so I'm feeling your pain right now.
oh
Obviously,
yeah,
a different context, but I'm feeling the pain.
oh yeah, it was very, very like just mentally intensive. Like you don't realize how difficult it is to sit down and do 150 laps by yourself until you have to do it like 3 times a day. Like it is insane when, you're not I wasn't even getting sleep. Like, you only have a week to prepare, and we never ran the Xfinity card. There's no reason to. There's no open series that everybody like flocks to go run competitive Xfinity. Like,
Yeah.
there is Xfinity B Open, but it's not the same. Like, there's one, two, three guys maybe, or a team or two that you have to compete against, and they are good, but they're not gonna dump 20 hours into a race that doesn't pay any money, that's not broadcast,
Yeah.
but we are. And so there's just a whole different dynamic, and I am so glad we made it through this year so I don't have to do that again, because let's just say that I didn't make it back through pro. Let's just say that's what it was. This summer in RTP, so that was the Road to Pro, the Truck Series stuff.
Yeah.
I took my rig. I have 3 screens. I've got a
Mhm.
full rig, not motion or anything, but I've got a full, like a sim seat. And I literally had to pack the entire thing up, throw it in the back of my Mazda Speed 3, and take it to Charlotte with all of my racing stuff every other week
Oh no.
Oh
for the whole
god.
summer.
Mm.
Oh man.
I was so over it. By the 6th time, I had to take it on vacation too because I was running rallycross, like pro qualifying. Um, and so I had my dad drive it in the truck because my car was full. I had my computer, I had a monitor, an extra one that wasn't part of my rig. And then I had like my pedals and all that stuff that I took the first time, and he came down with a separate vehicle to bring my rig on another date. I mean, it was a mess. So I don't want to ever have to do that again. I'm so glad I'm qualified for Rally Pro this year, so I get to take a vacation without my steering wheel, and I don't have to worry about, or hopefully won't have to worry about pro in the fall. Um, but yeah, the question was, what is my goal? That's why it's my goal.
That's
But
crazy.
expectation, um, I don't really know where to set my expectation, but like I would be really satisfied with just being competitive at the tracks that I am good at and improving on the tracks that I'm not. I'm not going to say I want to finish a specific place in points. Clearly, after tonight, not all of it's in my control,
Right.
but
Mhm.
just to improve in places I've been, known to be a little bit weaker. Qualifying would be a great example. My 2 wins came from 23rd position in pro and in RTP. That ain't going to cut it. We got to work on that. So, stuff like that.
So I remember you mentioned earlier, you said you spent like a month on the setup for Miami, right?
Correct. We
So
started a month ago. I'm not going to say that
okay.
we ran like nonstop laps, but that setup was started like January 8th.
So is that like a normal thing for every race? Like, do you kind of start a setup that early?
A lot of times, just because once the season gets started, you basically give it a day or two after the race, and then you get right back to working on it,
Okay.
just to give you kind of a break. But when you're in the preseason and you're not completely familiar with the build, I would say it's pretty common to have at least a baseline for the next few weeks. Like, let's say you are burnt out at running laps at Homestead, but you like the next week. It might be a good idea to start on the next week and then revisit it like later.
Right. Okay, yeah, I see. So we talked about your goals for this season, but I mean, what about like your future, maybe in the series or just in like general in life? Like, are you looking to stay on the sim racing path? And have you ever thought about maybe, I mean, with your being eNASCAR Coca Cola driver, like, people are gonna know your name now. So, like, have you ever thought of maybe trying to branch out and do like streaming and content creation in the future?
So, it's kind of funny. I had no intentions when I got on here of doing professional sim racing, but right now, it's a definitely a huge part of my life. Um, I really want to do, you know, outdoor racing, like the real thing,
Okay.
at a professional level. I've had a lot of opportunities, but it all comes down to, financial backing, and there's a point that you have to get past before it's, I wouldn't say easier to get sponsors, but there's a point you have to, like, late models, a lot of people's, families can afford to run that. It's a lot harder to get a sponsor for something that cost the late model cost purely because there's not as much attention brought to it.
Right.
So you kind of have to have a brand when you're running that stuff. There, let's say you're the iRacing driver that's the sim to reality guy, the guy that's actually going out on the weekends and he performs on the sim and in real life. Like that's the sort of avenue that we kind of have to take at this point because there's no way that I could do it, you know, on my own. My parents can't do it. So once you pass that step and you get into the bigger stage in NASCAR, if you have the connections, I'm not saying it's easy, but you're in a much better place, and so we're trying to get to that point and see where it goes from there.
Hopefully it works out because I think that the whole sim thing, in a lot of circumstances, can translate really well to like the real world. I know what Lutza, he does some racing IRL, or like Jimmy Broadbent, a big YouTuber. He's doing like a legitimate racing series now in the Praga car. It's called over there in Britain, which is really cool. I think just like sim racing to real life crossover is really cool. So hopefully, you can work something out with sponsorship. How hard is it right now getting sponsorship?
Well, I'm not racing right now, so you tell me. But
F.
yes, but I've been really fortunate to have a lot of really good partners. I mean, in the Coke series, I've got OfferPad, I got Linux, I've got Smithfield, Swag, ComServe, just a lot of people that have been behind me for a long time, or just coming on board this year, regardless. Um, I've been really fortunate. Can't say that that is normal right now. I'm
Right.
definitely one of the few to have that kind of opportunity. And what I'm hoping is that we can get something worked out to run maybe a pro truck this year. It's not NASCAR. It's if you know what a pro truck is, it's like a late model engine, a street stock
Mhm.
chassis with a truck body, which just gets you that full size car experience at those same tracks. You got a little bit of a different feeling, obviously, in your steering and the way you race it, but it just gives you that I wouldn't say that atmosphere, but you're kind of in that same situation that you might be in with with a bigger car or a faster car. So we might do something like that. They're much, much more inexpensive than late model racing is, like not even in the same ballpark. Um, so that's something that interests me, and if I can get some funding for that, we might try that out this year. Because there's some really big name tracks that have those types of races around here, or not around here, but down in North Carolina, that you're racing big competition when you go down there.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully it'll all manage to work out. Could you maybe send some of your sponsors my way too? um, so I want to also now get your thoughts on the current iRacing like tire model and whatnot. I just
Oh,
found out like 2 weeks ago. So I came into iRacing in July of last year.
I think me, you, and Eddie all came in the same time frame, basically.
Yeah, I was the first. I came in like late last year, like December-ish, and you came in like a couple months after, and then
I was
Garrett
like
shortly
June.
followed.
I
Yeah,
came last year.
I was under the impression that like just saving your right front tire the whole way was like how it's always been. But like from what I've heard, apparently like you did not have to like save it to the extent that you do now. So like I just want to hear what your thoughts on it because I hate saving that tire the whole race and I am so bad at it. So what are your thoughts on like the current tire model?
So V6, in my opinion, was the actual like right front tire saving tire model. I don't have that issue right now. I just toast the right rear. I have been struggling with that since this build came out. It's been a lot more fun. I can tell you, you have to wheel the V7 tire or the new tire model because I don't actually know what it's called anymore. It used to be V7. They don't seem to like that name for it anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm not really sure if it's really V7 anymore. But this tire doesn't like heat. And so basically any, you know, slippage on exit, you're adding heat and the right rear don't appreciate it. And so you're going to be in yaw as soon as you go into the corner and you're just going to add more heat to it. And
Mm.
so then you really can't get on the gas and it's just a vicious cycle. Um, that's why the right front isn't my issue. But you do have to tire save. I can tell you.
Yeah.
There is, especially in the fixed series, but still even in the open, you cannot slip the tires. You start sliding, you are wearing and heating up the tires, and that is, I can't say I'm not a big fan because there is an extent of that in real life for sure, 100%. It has benefited me, no doubt. I went from not being able to drive Richmond to really, really liking Richmond. I was probably, if the sec or the time delta was I was a tenth off, I was a tenth up when the build came out. Like I really like this one. It fits my style. Um, but the cars are a lot looser and just the style of racing has changed. I wish you didn't have to save as hard in the Xfinity car. I'm not, a NASCAR driver, so I can't,
Yeah.
actually say, like, I don't drive the Xfinity stuff, so, it's not really my place to say, oh, it's not realistic, but I don't think that you slow your pace down half a second a lap and make
Right.
that up later.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
just there is some fine tuning that needs to be done, but overall, I mean, even with that, the racing that we have, you still have, you know, you have to have a good car. You have to be able to race because like you have to be able to drive well because if you slip the tire by, driving too aggressive, then it's still a loss for you. So at the end of the day, I can't say that the saving is like the end all for quality of the race. I think it creates just a different style for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole tire saving, like the right front. I just continuously
I
destroy that thing, Matt. You know because you spotted for me in the core. Um,
every time we race, you'll like pull like 2 seconds ahead, and then 20 laps later, I'll go flying by.
I got decent
But
short
I
run
think
speed.
I think the difference between like us and what Garrett does like a lot of open stuff, and we're all doing fixed, and those are generally I think tighter setups.
Well, are you saying in fixed is tighter?
Probably.
Yeah, it depends. A lot of times they are. And it's probably a good thing because what we're driving in open is twitch and you're wrecking.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't want to
god, yeah.
I don't want
So
to even imagine.
yeah, now sometimes like tonight, if you're twitching and you're wrecking, you're already done. We were snugging the cars up tonight. They weren't tight by any means. They were just on the edge, like as free as you could be without wrecking the car. Um, And that's kind of always the rule of thumb, in my opinion. You want to be as free as you can drive. There's never a time where I say, "Yeah, tighten me up until I complain." Like I don't say that.
Right.
But I raced with you, Gary, at the road course. In fixed, it was tire save, 100%. And you saw that in the cup race. You saw them struggling for grip on exit.
Oh yeah.
And as much as I, was like, "There's no way this is realistic." I think it was pretty realistic. I think they were really struggling for grip. You could see it with Logano. You got 10 laps into that run, your tires are toast.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, you're
Yeah.
racing, you've got to have a tire hard enough to turn, what is it, 190, but then
Yeah.
slam on the brakes and stop the car for turn one. So that's a challenge in itself, and that's going to make it even more difficult to race those cars. It's impressive what some of these guys on here and in the Cup Series are actually able to do with it. It's definitely like when you race it on here, you gain a respect for what people are doing for sure.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
myself have.
Garrett,
Um,
if you don't mind me asking, Garrett, real quick. Garrett, so what I noticed tonight was when I was watching Casey's stream and the iRacing streaming a lot of the people were talking about how apparently now dirty air is a factor now with the cars and stuff. Can you touch any more on that? Like how that kind of affects kind of how you guys have to deal with the cars and now?
Well, just quick question for you: have you driven the Indy car on here?
No, I have not.
I have,
Uh,
unfortunately. I've
Okay.
not even completed an oval race.
Okay. Well, if you have done that, and any of your viewers that have watched that or participated, it plows in dirty
Mm-hmm.
air,
I've
but it
crashed so
doesn't
many times.
but it doesn't always, because if you come up on, for example, a car that's much slower, let's say you split the middle on two slower cars, they will literally take the air off your car and you will begin to wreck. That is what we're dealing with in these races. When we're double file and we're racing around each other, going down on somebody's door takes the side force away or
Yeah.
takes the downforce in general. I don't really know the aero mechanics on iRacing and where the real you know points of interest for all that stuff is,
Mhm.
but I can tell you there is a drastic um, change when you're around people. And just to make it simple, it plows on entry when you're behind somebody, and so you cannot drive in as deep. You're just killing your tires when you do that. And then it snaps on exit because you just plowed on entry. So you turned the wheel a little bit more than you wanted to, got on the power. You don't have the downforce, and so you know, you're sitting there yawing it out on exit, getting the tires hot. It is literally bad for the right rear, the right front, and all other tires touching the racetrack that are in
Mhm.
that train. And of course, tonight, if you weren't the leader, you had arrow, and it was just awful for anybody that had to deal with a pack of cars. It just made it so hard to pass. That's why the top worked. You saw
Yeah.
people ripping the fence in 1 and 2, even sometimes in 3 and 4, even though it's like 2 tenths slower. It was literally faster to drive around the long way instead of driving directly behind somebody.
Really.
And it saved tires doing it too. And that just shows how bad it was for your tires to run behind somebody.
I saw Leahy in the post race interview. He kind of mentioned like if he felt like if he had started like 10th, there was no chance he would have been able to win that race, just kind of because of the aero stuff and whatnot. Um, but now I want to ask you. So the eNASCAR, the Coca Cola series, it has been really expanding over the last few seasons. I want to kind of have your thoughts on where you think it's going to kind of be at in like 5 years or so, maybe higher prize money, stuff like that, as well as I want your feedback. I've had this incredible idea for years that we need like the championship race of like the Coca Cola series where all the drivers are just like in one room and they all have to compete against each other. And then we have a moment where Bobby Zelensky hooks Ryan Lutza into the wall for the championship.
Oh my
And
god.
now, but then we have the ability to have Lutza jump out of his sim rig and then just start punching him. Like, it'd be great.
Oh my god.
I've always wanted that.
I don't
Lord.
think I'm gonna go with the off chance. Say that might not happen this year.
I don't know,
Well,
but it's
yeah.
okay, to be honest with you.
Once the pandemic's over and we can get back together, we need that to happen. I would just love your feedback on that.
Just
I
have
mean,
him wear a mask.
I think it would be really cool. I don't really know how um, how long it will be before we see something like that. Just because, with esports, general esports, you've got a keyboard, you got a monitor, you got your computer, you got your mouse. It's pretty simple. You don't, there is no performance difference, or maybe if there is a small one, you can literally pack it in your suitcase and take it with you. I don't know how it actually works, like if you have to run their spec keyboard or whatever the deal is, but it's not that big of a difference as it would be like for me, I'm on a high end wheel. I've got Fanatec pedals. So I've got what I'm used to getting feedback from, and then I've got my field of
Uh,
view set. I've got triple monitors. I'm literally used to this setup. I'm not saying I can't drive it. I work at a sim racing shop. I drive the rigs there. And for me, I'm familiar with that equipment as well. So I don't have the issue. But would it be fair to me if, or would it be fair to somebody that drives a G27, for example, and they don't have much force feedback? And so they show up and there's all this high end equipment and they're having to like put all their weight on the brake pedal and they are having to like steer with all their effort to get the wheel, to do what they want to do. There's technical things like that that would make it potentially a logistical nightmare. And I'm hoping that, we find a way to make it work in the future because that would be really cool. I've had a lot of people that wanted to do, land tournaments, and I know it's happened. There have been land tournaments in the past, but sim racing also wasn't where it is today. Because my
Right.
dad used to do
yeah.
land tournaments. He actually raced back in, I don't remember what the game was called. It was one of like NASCAR's online series, basically. Dale Jr. ran it, you know. It was a
Yeah.
big deal for what it was. Um, but it would be definitely really cool to have that happen. I don't really know what to expect from, the Coke series moving forward. It grew a ton this year, and there's been so much more involvement, and esports in general grew a lot. And so if it continues, where it's going, we could see some really big things coming from it. But right now, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I love like just seeing the direction it's going so far. The future looks really good. I mean, like you said, esports has just blown up in the last almost year or so. I think the pandemic's kind of helped that a little bit. But for the final question I have for you, so any tips you have for like, I mean, even like new, I consider myself still to be somewhat of a new iRacer. Like, what are your main tips without giving anything away of just how to just get better on the service in general?
Hmm. I mean, dude, do you want me to rant? I mean,
Yeah, whatever you want.
um, I mean, it's kind of hard to just like, narrow it down to a few things. For me, the first thing I would say is don't just jump from race to race. Find something that, you feel comfortable in, that you understand, a style of racing that you understand, um, or just learn to understand it over time. Stick with that, get good in that. Eventually, iRacing kind of the handling, the you almost adapt to what you're seeing. So like if you have your field of view set, it's a lot easier to adapt proper. Like if it's set properly, it's a lot easier to pick up on what's going on. But some people take a little bit of time to really connect what their hands are doing with what they're seeing.
Mhm.
And I've had that before. Like if you're tired, for example, sometimes your brain just ain't communicating what it's seeing to you know to reality basically.
Right.
Like when you're racing this stuff, it has to almost feel real to you. You have to have some sort of like connection. Um, Once you get to that point where you understand what you're seeing, what you're feeling, it's a lot easier to jump into other stuff. It's a lot easier to learn other cars. And so like you see people that just jump in and they're naturally fast. That's where it's coming from. They know what they're feeling already. And so they're able to jump in and know what to expect. I did that with short track cars. I learned in that stuff, and NASCAR is a totally different beast, but I understood at least what was going on. So that's my personal advice. Find something, find whatever series you want to start in, and go from there. Don't just like jump around to all sorts of different stuff because it just kind of throws you off.
I'll make sure to write those down for myself because I'm still way off. Got a lot of learning to do, as myself, Matt, and Eddie all have to.
Yeah, I'm running
Yeah,
out of
Um,
sticky notes.
I'm just gonna say though. I mean, what were you, second or third in that
Third.
Daytona race? Yeah, so you are still you would still be considered to be above average for sure at the Daytona road course. So just keep that in mind.
There you heard it,
'Cause,
everybody, from an eNASCAR driver.
hey, I'm just saying, there's some 5,000 iRating guys that finished further than 30 seconds behind. So
I feel like the road course is the only time I can actually be somewhat competitive. But
I mean, I'm pretty sure there were some really good drivers in that race, and I'm just saying the Cup car is one of the most difficult ones to drive. And
Yeah.
I am not, you know, by any means the top guy, but there were some really good guys in that race that you were ahead of by quite a lot. So
well, there you have it,
something to
everybody.
think of.
Hey, that's definitely not me because I did NIS at Daytona Road Course, and I've never been so happy with a 17th place finish in my life.
Hey, shout out to Vicente Salas because he took me from running. I think I was running 54 twos or something. I got down to 53 fours in that ballpark. I think somewhere like that.
And that was on fixed,
Anyway,
right?
yeah, that was on fixed.
Oh God.
And after I ran with him, the next day I had the fastest qualifying time for the fixed NIS with the 52.4. And had I not screwed up, I ran open the next morning. I just 9 o'clock woke up, built something. I would have literally had the world record, the overall world
Oh
record.
man.
I screwed up and missed the final chicane, but like
Oh
I
no.
went from an absolute bot that could not get around the racetrack, that was qualifying like 6th every race, to like a whole like another level, understanding the racetrack. So big thanks to him because I was struggling.
Yeah, I've made a ton of laps so far around the Daytona road course. I can barely break like a high 54 at the best, but I'm still working on trying to get anywhere near what you're doing.
Yeah,
You had long run though, because you weren't roasting your stuff. That was the difference. Like maybe I had the hot lap, but I fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I felt like I was decent. Ethan Lane, he ran me down from like 7 seconds back though in the last little bit there. But other than that, I was pretty good.
Ethan
But
Lane's like a 6,000 iRating oval driver, so
yeah, I didn't even know who he was, and then the same night I went and watched that whole little Daytona with the no restrictor plates on the 2012 Cup cars. I forget what it's called, but they were doing a
it
big
was the
event for that.
Carnomaly.
Yeah,
Yep.
that. Yep, and he was in that, and I was like, oh, that's the guy from earlier. So
Oh, dude, I was like probably, what is it, a half mile from not making it. We had been chilling up front. I'd come over the mic and I'm like, look, there's 3 to go here. Not a single one of us have raced each other hard this entire time. Let's not change that because there's absolutely nothing to gain. And I'm not normally the guy for that speech. I'm normally
right.
the guy that ignores that speech. But everybody up there was like, yeah, I'm actually with you on this one. The dude running 7th place, we're 3 wide on the final lap, which it was not a big deal. Like, it was not a close 3 wide at all. Misses the bottom by 2 lanes, washes me all the way up to the wall, and I'm in the middle, which hooks me into the wall because the guy on
Oh,
my outside's there that was trying to back out. Somehow, I got it back straight. The guy that hit the wall by me squeezing him into it because I got pushed into him, somehow he finished 1/10 ahead of 12th place, so he made it.
oh, okay.
And I was right in front of him.
Oh,
So
It was too close.
so you're in like the main event or whatever it is,
I'm in
or
the qualifying and then the duels. So
oh,
tomorrow
okay,
night actually is the qualifying, which actually sucks because I was looking forward to running NIS. I really wanted to show what we had for our car from tonight, but you can't run them all. So
right. No, that car anomaly thing has been a ton of fun to watch just from last week. So yeah, we're gonna be checking that out for sure. But I mean, yeah, good luck with that, by the way, as well. Hopefully that
appreciate
works
it.
out. Good luck on the rest of the season here in the Coca Cola series. I'd just like to thank you for taking the time out of your night after your race. That didn't go great, of course, with the whole connection thing. I really do appreciate you stopping by, and I guess we'll let you get out of here. And yeah, once again, yeah, we appreciate you coming out, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and y'all have a good night as well.
There you have Garrett Manes there from the Coca Cola series for Elliott Sadler Esports. And we are back. We just like to say huge thanks to Garrett for hopping on with us. The first guest, maybe the only guest we'll ever have. Maybe no one else will want to come on. But actually, we might have one in the works. Stay tuned. But so the Coca-Cola race, basically, Garrett explained it very well. I mean, the only other notable thing was Keegan Leahy won the thing, and it was green the whole way. So we're just going to move right on into the Daytona Road Course event from the actual IRL NASCAR Cup Series. So there was, of course, a Truck Series race and Xfinity race. Those were all chaos. But, of course, we just want to focus mainly on the Cup race here. And it was interesting, in my opinion. Later in the race, there's some things that I guarantee Eddie's going to be very passionate to talk about here. But so
yeah, very.
Chase Elliott on pole. Stage one,
Oh.
nothing really crazy happened. It was pretty much
nine drivers had tire issues, but we'll just ignore that, I guess.
oh well, yeah. I guess Michael McDowell went into turn one, and apparently he blew a tire before he even like started the race.
Kyle Busch went through the grass and destroyed his
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Chase
Um,
Bush forgot about
Benedetto lost
Bubba
almost
Wallace.
his- Yeah, the Benedetto pretty much lost his entire right side.
Eric Jones blew his left rear and somehow didn't destroy the entire rear of his car like Matty D did.
Now, what was causing all those tire issues, though, is what I wonder.
I genuinely
Goodyear.
have no idea.
Eric Jones' crew chief believes his was they had the pressures too low. and it must have rubbed on something.
Okay.
But didn't Brad have a flat tire too in stage 1?
No, he just spun out.
Oh, I think Brad because
Brad had a little bit of everything, all right.
It's a clown.
Brad had everything. So I mean,
Brad had experienced a good, bad, and just about average day all in one scene.
It somehow finished fifth.
And somehow finished top 5, which we'll never effing understand. But anyway.
He beat Chase Elliott.
Oh my god.
About most the top 10 makes absolutely no sense at all.
Other than the 20 car, who I felt rightfully...
Are you joking? Half the top 10 didn't even run the top 10 the whole day.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the 20 car should have been second at the least, so he was rightfully up there. But
I guess
shouldn't have been in the top 10.
I guess I'm gonna get asked many questions of what I think of it. Of a certain
Don't even get me started. Save me for last, for God's sakes.
Stage 1 went to Chase Elliott. He won stage. Stage
good thing about
2.
the whole thing.
What happened in stage 2? I don't remember.
Hell.
Stage 2 was Ross Chastain.
Oh yeah, and Ryan Blaney. So they never caught a good angle of it.
If you've seen Radioactive just recently today, you can hear Chastain's spotter saying, well, the 12 just hooked us in the left rear and just shot us into the fence and killed us. So basically, Chip Ganassi thinks that they got blatantly taken out by the 12, and yeah, pretty much that whole story. Oh, and we forgot to mention also that AJ Allmendinger about missed a shift and killed Ryan Blaney, but we'll never understand that because when you hear that back on Radioactive, Brett Griffin just really pulled a Brett Griffin about Dollar General. I don't even know what the hell it was. Taquito, I don't know, some kind of taco thing or whatever, quesadilla, but whatever the hell it is. But apparently they didn't.
It was a seatbelt, wasn't it?
Well, I wasn't even freaking close. Thanks, Jay. But
pretty sure it was a seatbelt. He said he bought an $8 seatbelt. I think.
At Dollar General.
Yeah, Dollar General. And then Chris Rice was like, "How do you buy an $8 seatbelt or whatever it was at a Dollar General? It's not an $8 store."
I heard that.
Dollar General.
They played that part in the actual race broadcast. I remember hearing that.
I had to get a sponsorship from Dollar General.
But they sponsored the car for
They didn't understand like what happened. AJ said he didn't miss a shift, and then Blaney just said that
like
he missed a shift. Yeah, he said he didn't. That doesn't make any sense.
You want to know what I think it was? I think I noticed this throughout the race is that they kept going higher and higher in NASCAR 1 and 2. And you noticed on the back, the person that would run it like closer to the wall would have a huge head of speed going. So what I think might have happened because Blaney was high and
lost momentum.
It wasn't a loss of momentum. It was Blaney has more speed because he's taking the longer way around the track, and AJ's on the bottom. When Blaney comes down, he's got the head of steam and.
Well, I'm also like 99% sure that they went with an onboard of Allmendinger when that was happening, and I'm pretty sure you heard something funky happen with the engine. So yeah.
Something weird happened, but whatever.
Both of them have different stories. AJ said that he didn't miss a shift, and Blaney actually thought he got brake checked.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation. I completely forgot about that, and I was trying to figure out what in the world you guys were talking about. Then I remembered
the clown show yet of the last 20 laps.
I remembered though. He was in Oval 1 and 2 when it happened.
Don't get me freaking started.
So stage 2, Elliott won that one, right?
No,
Hamlin did.
Because that's when there was pit strategy after the Chastain incident.
Oh, okay. So Hamlin won stage. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember. I think I tweeted about that.
Yeah, it was a shit show restart.
And
everyone was forced at 3 wide, couldn't do nothing.
The restarts at this place are wild.
It's great. It's the most entertaining thing ever.
Wheel hop for days.
So third stage happened, and Chase Elliott eventually found himself back out in front. And we had the 20 of Christopher Bell, who was doing a tremendous job hanging with the 9. I did not see that coming ever.
No.
And he was closing in like towards the late part of the run, which was very surprising. I was shocked.
Yeah, and then after the green flag pit, then we got the green flag pit stops, and then Chase started pulling away again.
And then
And here comes the controversy.
For
It
hell's
rained.
sake, yeah, it definitely rained. Yeah.
I mean, it was raining.
Yeah, it was like freaking literally you can sprinkle fairy dust on the track. That's literally what it was.
Well, so
So
my opinion on the matter of the caution coming out when the rain happened is you can't blame the race control or the officials
Yes, you
because
can.
no, you can't because they're going off of what the rules say.
Yeah.
They're going off of that's all on the guys who make the rules. That's nothing on race control.
Well, the guy looking at the track was freaking blind as day.
I,
They literally, if you go through Radioactive, they literally showed a
only took the
segment of every driver bitching about who was looking at the turn because it wasn't wet at all. Like, I think, what did they go through? Like, about a quarter of the drivers. One of them was Kyle, the other one was Chase, the other one was Denny. They were all very confused on why the caution came out. There was no reason for it.
I heard Bob Pocker said their explanation was they saw the track changing color.
And then another one I read, they said that they wanted to give the drivers the opportunity to put rain tires on. Why
'Cause
couldn't they just
that's
do
what's
that
in the
under
rule
green?
book.
I
Well,
think
That's
they
the
need to
rule.
toss that. They need to toss
I'm
that
not
rule.
saying it. I'm not saying it is or it isn't a stupid rule. I'm just going off of what we have written right now and why they would make those decisions, and that's why because that's the way the rule book is written, and so that's why that happened.
yeah, like
Now, does that need to be changed? Yes.
I agree.
1,000%. It
I
needs to be
agree.
shredded.
Like Jay mentioned, like it's a part of the rule book, so it's like we can't full on be like upset that it happened. We should have kind of expected it because it was a rule.
Well, no,
But
I'm not saying you can't be
it's a
upset that it
stupid
happened
rule.
because it's upsetting. You just can't.
Yeah,
You just can't
it's
blame the race control guys.
it's
for
a
it because they're going
rule.
off of what they're
Yeah,
given.
it's a rule that should not be there because
Yeah.
Basically,
I
the
was.
win to the guy that should have won the race to a different guy for no freaking reason.
I think Bell could have had something for him though.
I'm gonna say with that one though, to be fair, Elliott had all the time in the world to make it back up, and he spun himself off of Hamlin's nose. So
We'll dive
be
into
That's
that.
different.
We'll
That's
get-
different.
We'll get into that in a second because I have an opinion on that I want to get across as well.
Well,
There's
there's
another
a
thing
whole
nobody
clown-
noticed either.
Hey, the clown show is soon to come.
Yes, we'll dive right into that.
But-
Um,
I want to talk about. According to the rule book, even according to the rule book, I don't even think they need to throw the caution. Right? Like there's a part of me that's like, man, did they really need to throw the caution still? Because
Right.
like it clearly was not wet to our
No.
knowledge. And do I have a feeling NASCAR just wanted to make it spicy? Absolutely.
and I don't blame them.
No, you're not wrong there either. Yeah, you're not wrong, but and also at the same time, the way if you look at the race control's past history, especially recently with calling cautions for incidents and things that could potentially be a safety hazard, they don't take any chance with that, and they immediately will call a caution. And so when the rule book says when there's rain, you have to call a caution to give teams an opportunity to put on rain tires, their thinking is, okay, well, this is in the rule book. It has rained. We don't know what kind of grip the car has with slick tires right now. Some of these teams may be wanting to try and put on rain tires, or maybe they just wanted to call the caution to have the jet dryers go out and maybe just blow the water off the track and keep it dry. So I can't really fault them for wanting to just do it maybe from a safety standpoint and also yes, I'm sure that they were thinking we can also get an exciting finish out of this. But I'm sure that their main thinking was it just rained in a portion of the track.
Yeah.
And they're on slick tires, so that from a safety standpoint, we have to do something.
I want to go.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I think I speak for all four of us that the rule is kind of dumb because every single motorsport in the world does not.
Yeah, kinda. It's dumb as hell.
I mean, yeah, it is dumb, but this also isn't F1 or IndyCar or any other car. They're 3,200-pound stock cars that are running on slicks, and normally the drivers are not used to running in the rain at all. So at the same time, give them a little bit of slack for thinking of that rule.
I'll be
there's not.
honest. I didn't really think about it just how Jay explained it, and actually, I think Jay makes a really good point.
Yeah.
I was saying literally 10 minutes ago, I was like, it's so stupid, like, make them do it under green. But Jay brings up that stuff, and it's actually a legitimate point, in my opinion. These are very heavy race cars, we've seen what happens when the track gets wet sometimes for them, and on the slick tires. So I mean, it absolutely could have destroyed a bunch of cars if they had kept it green. So I see. I think Jay's got a good point there. That kind of just changed my opinion on the spot. But I guess we move into the clown reel.
The
So-
clown said it.
We go back green. Was Elliott on the front row, or did he got
No,
a bad
no,
pit
this is,
stop?
no. This is
when they all pitted.
when half of them pitted,
Half of them pitted, half of them stayed out.
and then Elliott also had a bad pit stop.
Yeah, he got like cycled back a
his
little
team let
bit.
him down quite a bit.
That was the only
throughout
time
the
all day
day.
they did. No,
Yeah.
that was the only time. It wasn't the whole
Was it?
day.
I could
Yeah.
no. There was
one
a couple
time.
times.
He did lose
There was-
spots twice.
Yeah. The other one was because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know if we're doing 2 or 4. And I remember
Well,
listening to it on the
technically,
radio.
so the team letting him
Yeah.
down.
No, it's not the team letting them down. That's just them not coming up with a
technically-
decision.
Technically, it's still part of the team. But anyways, go ahead.
So was that the restart where you went in the grass, or was that they still
That's
got
when
going over
LaJoy, I believe this.
That's
that
when
is-
LaJoy
that's when
became a
LaJoy-
forehead.
and put
Got their
Elliott
back markers.
in the grass, and made an incredible save.
Yeah, that was.
Like-
oh man, I don't know. That was quite the.
That
save.
was awesome. He did an incredible job. He should have been that thing right into the wall or right back into traffic and caused an incident. But came back and what's that?
or just spin.
Or just yes. And then Elliott came back and wrecked the 7, but apparently it was an accident according to his radio.
According,
I don't believe it one bit, but there
Yeah,
was
it
no
was.
replay. There was
Oh,
no
it was.
replay proving either side. So I don't.
There's no actually replay
Yeah.
of the incident.
So who actually
I mean,
knows?
the way that Chase described it, like he still, even if it was an accident, he still basically called LaJoy an idiot because he was like, the first time we went through that corner, I was expecting LaJoy to give it to me and he didn't, and I got put in the grass. This time I was expecting him to not give it to me and he did, and
And
contact was made and I turned him.
it was
So
weird.
Either way, he was kind of calling
his-
LaJoy an idiot.
It literally was the same freaking thing that happened again the second time. Like, Elliott peeked his nose one way, LaJoy was going to give him it the other way, and then Chase went the other way, and LaJoy just didn't give him it again. Like, he literally gave Chase the option to go one way. Chase went to take it, and then LaJoy just cut it off again.
We
Like,
have
he
no
literally shut
replay
it
of-
down again. No, but that's what he said on the radio. I remember the exact whole thing. It's
Oh.
literally what they said.
I need the
Did the
replay
same
though
exact
to make a
Yeah,
judgment.
like-
It's not my
like-
fault. Fox sucks ass at getting replays with the damn track. So it's like, what are you gonna do?
That's why I also believe there should be an onboard camera on every car.
I
in the
worry too
field.
much about how many commercials they are over freaking what the hell you actually see.
So that pretty much ignited the downfall of everything for a lot of drivers. It felt like.
Oh God.
We didn't mention Kurt Busch also wrecked from the lead at one point. That
Yeah,
was
that was
embarrassing
so
for
stupid.
him.
That was hilarious.
He rallied back to a good finish as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, fifth.
It-
Or not fifth. He got
Fourth.
freaking fourth.
and
how
Again,
Craig got
doesn't make
top five.
sense, but okay.
the Elliott LaJoy second incident was what brought out the caution, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Tyler Reddick caught on fire.
Oh
No.
no, I thought that was just
No,
the
that
one
was the
after
before.
or before.
That was the one before. There was so much happening in the last 15 laps of the
Yeah,
race.
it's hard to narrow it down. So we had another restart and
8 to go.
8 to go, and basically Bell he was working his way a little bit forwards. He was in a decent position. Kyle Larson was like the best or like the furthest
He was,
ahead with
he
the
was the
tires.
captain because he had
Yeah.
the freshest tires, and then Larson went full Larson.
This is when this was peak chaos within like 2 laps. So Larson in position to make a pass for second going into the oval section of oval turns 1. If he gets past Kurt Busch right here, he's going to go win the race. You
He
know,
wheel hopped it.
wheel hops, chokes. I said earlier. I
Yeah,
said
he
Kyle.
he did exactly what Larson is known for doing.
Yes, I said earlier. I said
just a wheel hop.
that's not managing your car the
He,
right way
he
in the
wasn't
corner.
even close. It wasn't even close on
I
where he break.
I said Kyle Larson would take over Blaney's choke, like kind of performance now that he's back, and he's
That-
living up to it already.
Blaney,
I mean, Larson does have more wins than Blaney.
For now. Actually, you
Period.
know what? He probably will
Period.
forever. Actually, Blaney is not
All
going
right,
to win
all
more.
right, all right. But no. This is when Larson and Blaney go fisticuffs and like like a giant movie poster, and it's like the greatest chokes of the century. Our battle will be legendary.
Oh, what
So
happens when he
I
plays down
say
two?
they're even. We're even on the season.
Yeah.
Ironically, both at the road course.
Yeah. So yeah, Larson choked it. Will hop into the barrier. Done. Finished in
And-
30s.
Where did he finish? Let me look.
I think
30th.
it was and then I think it was the very next lap.
Yep.
Same corner. Chase Elliott. Boy, we should mention Brad Keselowski was a massive roadblock.
Dick.
A
Clown.
massive just
He
mistake machine.
was very
Clown.
close to running Christopher Bell off the course like a few laps prior.
He
By
wrecked Chase
missing
Elliott.
the
Can't prove me
corner.
wrong.
I actually agree. By the way, I'm going to say that in just a moment.
Him
So
and Denny, to be honest.
Denny
I
did nothing
I
wrong
don't think that. I don't.
Chase had damage on his left rear quarter panel.
because he
Yeah,
came across the
because
front of the
he-
11.
Yeah, he turned himself across
What-
an
What's
yeah.
he
encapper.
supposed to do? Freaking run over Brad at the same time?
Go right.
Denny was already there. That's the problem.
Yeah,
And
Denny
Denny
did
sent
a
the
move,
corner.
and Chase just turned left onto him. That was like,
It's
you
just
can't
a
blame Denny, and you can.
Yeah, you kind of can.
no.
No, not
Hamlin
really,
was
but
there. Hamlin was there.
Absolutely. I
Hamlin was
mean,
literally just running his line. He wasn't trying to make a move on Chase or anything, and Chase just went left on him.
I think
Okay.
I mean it was just Elliott was trying to cross over the two, and I felt like
Yeah.
he had to do that because Keselowski was such a roadblock, and Keselowski put Chase in that position, which caused the incident because Hamlin he'd already stuck his nose, and obviously Elliott, in my opinion, had no idea that was happening. I wouldn't know that was happening, and then of course he came across him, and around he went. So it was just really a bad miscommunication there. I felt like, but so that destroyed Elliott's finish. Where did he finish? 20s.
21st.
21st, I think.
Okay. And that pretty much, now that he was done, Larson was out.
Fucking
Christopher
joke.
Bell's here, and he drove Logano down from multiple
2.5
seconds.
Two,
And-
3.5 seconds, I think.
He got to his back bumper coming to the final lap, and
Coming to
Logano.
it,
What's that?
Coming to the white light.
Coming to the white, yeah. And Logano throws a huge block, which he has to do, just like Daytona. This time he didn't wreck anybody. Bell got to his inside, passed him. Final lap, drives away, no competition, wins his first career race in the number 20 car. So he's already locked into the playoffs. So good for him.
Bullshit.
And so I just want to mention this. So I said I was going to talk about it earlier, that I felt like between like the Elliott and Bell situation, it's like they were both put in a similar situation. It was just Bell was able to keep himself out of trouble and Chase wasn't. You know?
Wonder why.
Bell did a better job.
Fucking rain caution.
Yeah, I mean, but they were both dealt the same. They were
Fantastic.
both dealt the same cards. And
Yeah,
I
at
just
least-
Exactly. That's the point that I was making earlier.
At least Christopher was able to get a better restart and not actually have to go through all the shittier back markers than Chase did.
I just thought Bell executed better there, and I mean, obviously it paid
Well,
off. for him.
the one thing is Chase started on the inside and Bell was on the outside, so he was easing better to get into turn one.
I don't know because like
He had a better chance of making it than Chase did. He did, because Chase went
no.
to the
What I'm
bottom,
saying,
and Christopher was on top, and he was able to clear the joy before they even made it into turn one.
no. What I'm saying, like, yeah, that's. I almost want to be on the inside of restarts here because, I mean, we saw it all weekend. They were going to turn one, and nope, there goes the entire outside lane wrecking.
Well, yeah, that's if you
Like
get
Truex,
slammed
like
from the guy in the middle.
Truex nearly took out the 20.
Yeah, Truex was the one that was in the middle, though. That's the thing. You have to understand, like, if you're on the top of the 3 wide, then you have a better chance of making it through than the guy in the bottom or the middle. The middle guy is going to be the one that wrecks the guy on top every time.
Honestly, I don't know where I'd want to be on a restart there. It's just,
No.
it's
You
madness.
definitely want to be on top.
No, I mean, there's a
I
lot of
don't
contact
know.
for that car though on the right side. We saw that too at times.
It's
I
a
am.
weird-
It's like it's a tough one. I don't know where I'd want to be. Yeah,
If you're on top and you're on that inside line for the S's part and then that next turn, then you're clear. You're fine.
but
You just hit the bottom for everything else.
so Christopher Bell picks up the victory at
Bullshit.
Daytona. You can tell Eddie's a little bit passionate still about that. As a Hamlin fan,
I think Eddie's more mad at Bell winning than I am.
yeah.
Hey, Christopher didn't even do anything wrong. He just drove through the field and
It's just another NASCAR story of inconsistencies
I
where we're
think,
just gonna give more first-time
honestly,
winners fucking
I think-
public.
But it's not. They literally went with the rule book.
It's stupid. It's
It doesn't
100%
matter if it's
stupid.
stupid or not. You can't call it inconsistent when they literally went with the rule book and followed exactly what the rule book said.
No, but it's because it's stupid, Jay. It's not like I'm gonna freaking praise them for what they did. I mean, it was literally stupid.
not
It was the most
praising
dumb
them.
thing ever.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not praising them either, but you can't say it's inconsistency when it's not. When they went exactly by the rule book and how they were supposed to do it.
Yeah, like
Doesn't seem like it.
it's stupid, but they still went by the rule book.
It's the
basically.
dumbest thing ever, though.
Oh yeah, it absolutely was
Is
dumb.
it?
It's just, but they still,
It's great when they
Did
throw the
what-
caution and the rain stops immediately.
yeah,
the track's not
like,
even wet.
it was stupid, but they did what was written
Anti-vortex
down.
theory?
The track's not even the freaking same turn that they're bitching about. It's not even freaking wet. Great.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
definitely going through the rule book.
that was a recap of Daytona. There was a lot to kind of be opinionated about. It was a very chaotic finish, or a very chaotic last 15, 20 laps after the rain. One notable thing, Daniel Suarez threw up in his helmet. Yummy.
Ironically, with 15 to go.
Yeah, just when the cautions start coming in. And apparently, I forget exactly what it was, but there was some issue in the car. He wasn't getting something he needed, and it made him start feel nauseous, and he threw up in the helmet. And they never, of course, gave him a new helmet or anything. You'd have to take the whole helmet off. You have to figure that out under a pit stop. So apparently, he was in the 30s, or he was like 30th.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So let me see here. The race was 70 laps. On lap 59, him and and Eric Jones were both in the high, like 31st, 33rd range, and they both drove up into like the top 15.
Yeah, I think Suarez was 15th or 16th.
16th, and Jones was 14th.
Suarez did a great job, dealing with that crap. I don't even want to imagine.
I don't want to be in that position ever.
First thing I thought was like just the vomit rubbing on your lips.
Please don't.
As you're trying to race around the
Please.
Daytona road course. Was it under green flag or was it under caution when it happened?
I don't know. We don't know, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go into more detail.
Was there one lap that looked a little bit off around there? We'll have to look into it.
You can look into it all you want.
I just thought it was fascinating. Big respect to one of my favorites, of course, of Daniel Suarez. Eric Jones, he finished up in 14th. That was a nice run for him.
After all this crap that he dealt with that day too.
Yeah, there was a lot of drivers that had a lot of stuff happen and get good finishes out of it. Like Kurt Busch wrecking from the lead, Keselowski
being a clown all day. Apparently,
couldn't slow down.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about Brett. It was a weird day.
He didn't know how to slow down properly.
I don't know. No disrespect.
I remember.
Hey, can we talk about Kevin Harvick finally having a clean Daytona road course race?
Where'd he finish?
6th.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
The
I
power
thought
of
the
the
whole
race.
fucking race was shit.
I thought
Look
it
at
was
that Harvick at the top 10.
Yeah, I was
Ryan
surprised.
Preece got 9th, and
Oh,
Bowman
wow.
somehow got 10th.
I expected more out of Bowman because when
Yeah.
I look at the track like the Roval, he does really good there.
14th to
McDowell
16th all
rebounded to a
day and
pretty good
gets
finish
10th.
too, didn't he?
What's that?
McDowell rebounded to a pretty good
Eighth.
finish,
Yeah.
too, didn't he?
8th.
8th, yeah, top 10 for him. Has he ever had 2 consecutive top 10s?
No, that was someone said that this is the first time in his career that he
There
did
you
that.
go. So when's the Daytona 500? Now look at him
Oh,
making.
Final four contender.
He's gonna be in the playoffs. Is he gonna be a first round exit? Absolutely. So
One thing we haven't covered
Just like
yet
Christopher
was
Bell.
the wild Xfinity race and truck race.
Clown shows.
If you
All
wanna
right.
cover
Yeah,
that.
no, I summed it up.
Okay, the truck race was definitely a
Clown.
clown show.
that's how I summed him up. I said
The
we're just gonna skip
the
over it.
Xfinity race just showed why stage racing is just stupid. The first stage, actually.
Yeah, I hate when it gets exciting.
wouldn't-
Honestly,
Yeah, I wouldn't
It's
say that
so
was
bad.
shown why stage race was stupid. That was more of a
why
You're
blocking?
the-
mistake
you're-
by Allmendinger.
You literally wrecked 2 of the best cars because they both
Um,
on stage
I
win.
think it was-
That's a driver mistake and not a stage mistake.
Kind of
Making
both.
a dumb mistake to try and block like that.
Kind of
Yeah,
both.
Allmendinger threw a huge block, and
Yeah, the
Austin.
only
I
reason
look
he did
at
was for the stage.
I mean, I look at Austin Cindric as a guy that isn't going to take that. He proved it.
Joey Logano 2.0.
He did exactly what he should have done. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, well, hey, it's not surprising from a Penske driver.
Yeah, when you're running me
Also,
down towards the grass, I'm taking you out.
I just also want to say to Eddie's point, talking about how that just shows how stage racing is dumb. That's like one of maybe 5 instances in maybe like 1 of 5 times that's ever happened where we've ever had like somebody wreck for a stage win.
I think the
So,
most
I mean, it's not
notable
that really big of a deal.
was the 2018 500, and they had a huge pile up. No, 2019 maybe. I think it was 19. They had a huge pile up on the final lap of stage 1 when Stenhouse got like hooked by Blaney and made a huge save in the 17 car, and then they all just went crashing. I remember Suarez head on into the wall, Jones in the 20 and stuff.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the only thing that comes to my mind, or other than Jimmy Johnson wrecking himself for the stage win in Darlington last year.
XD.
Sad kick.
Yeah, that was so sad for him. But no, I thought that was great at the end of stage 1. You know, those guys were putting it all on the line for a playoff point, and Allmendinger crossed the line, and he paid the price. Yeah. I mean, it is early in the season to be doing that, but I mean, at the same time, you block like that, you better expect to get turned.
That was a massive dumb move by Allmendinger to do that.
Cindric could have backed out, but at the same time, Allmendinger could have not thrown an over excessive block.
I don't know. I'm not even sure if I would call that a block. That was just like straight up turn left and.
Well, yeah, I guess because he was side by side.
It was. I think it was more of a block.
But it's like,
well, no, I mean, I'm just talking about how aggressive and stupid the move was. Like it was
I
almost
think,
just
I think I
just
kind
turn
of
left to wreck the dude.
It's like I kind of understand. I think what he was trying to do, because I remember seeing the same exact thing, like when Chase Elliott ran the 88 for the Daytona opener a couple of years ago, when they were going for the win. It was him and like Joey Logano, and they were like yelling at him to push Logano up the track, and he kept using like his rear quarter panel to push Joey up, so he couldn't get like on his quarter panel to side draft him to pull him back, and Chase being by the line by like a couple inches.
right.
And I think that's like what Allmendinger was trying to do. I think he was just trying to beat him like with a quarter panel to where you just tap him to where he would stay down and not get by him. But I don't think it
there's
worked
a way to do
that way.
with slightly turning left, and then there's just going up a lane and then just yeeting left on the guy.
Well, I
That's
think
basically what Allmendinger did.
What I also don't think anybody's gonna take like any interest in is like, can we also kind of like get an understanding of if Cindric might have turned right, also to make it a little bit more worse? Like no bullshit. Like we can throw the blame on Allmendinger, but can we also just point a little bit to possibly where Cindric can just turn right and turn him?
Did that happen? Because I don't.
Because
I didn't think I saw his car move.
the way it looked like on the run replay screen, his right front tire was turned to the right, to where he was going to turn straight back up.
Me like he moved, but I mean, I'm not going to say.
Honestly, I'm likely going to turn right in that situation because I just.
But it's like if you think Cindric might have turned him, then you can't throw all the blame on Allmendinger. You can kind of go both ways with it. Like,
yeah,
both sides can have an understanding of who's at fault.
Yeah, like the way I would have been is like he was running him down to the grass. Like if you get put in the grass, your splitter's gone.
Because I just thought about it. Because like Cindric at first said, "What was he doing?" and then like made a whole bunch of shit. Like I don't understand why you do that. But then also he came back on the radio and said, "I'm sorry guys, I don't know why I put us in that spot." He's like, why would you try to yell at the guy for doing what he did, and then also apologize for something that you might have done, but we don't even know if you actually did?
Yeah, it was weird. I saw Allmendinger apologize too. He took the blame for it.
Yeah, because he was over aggressive, which I don't blame him for.
Yeah, they were both being really aggressive. And who even won the? Oh, Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't home to actually watch the race, so I didn't see what happened.
Yeah, I watched like the last
Oh, it was not bad. I'm actually happy the kid won.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool for him.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good for a standpoint of like if you're a Joe Gibbs fan.
Yeah.
To understand like what you're gonna see in the future.
I'm a fan of 3 of the drivers.
There you go. I'm a fan of 1. Denny Hamlin.
I'm a fan of none of them.
But yeah, the truck race was chaos too. Ben Rhodes won that.
That was an absolute clown show.
Yeah. Congrats to Ben Rhodes, I guess. Yeah, he's won 2 races in a row.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Actually, no bullshit. I kind of want to take a little credit to Haley Deegan because she actually made me actually believe in her season so far this season. No, but like, I understand she had a flat tire and it ruined her whole night, right? But she had the opportunity to finish I think if I remember right, like 8th or 9th. And she's not known as like a really good road course racer either. We all know this. Like her specialty is like dirt racing and all that. That's where most of her wins got in ARCA series or short track racing. But the way she's looked these first 2 weeks, I kind of have to give them a little bit more respect because I actually like how she's taking her rookie season so far. And I want to see how impressive she does because they're going to go to Las Vegas in, 2 weeks? And that I actually feel like is actually where her like actual skills are going to show. Like I actually feel like she'll actually get a top 10 or top 5.
Right.
Because that truck's shown power and it has the potential to win a race, I think, in my opinion. I think her best chance is at one of the dirt races.
They go to Knoxville, I think, right, this year?
And Bristol Dirt.
And it's two.
And Bristol Dirt and Nashville. She's a really good short track racer too. That's the thing, but like her best is the dirt. So it's like I don't see how.
Yeah, we'll
that's
see what she
gonna
can do.
Anything.
It'll be interesting to watch her. I didn't pay attention at all to her, other than the moment when I saw her in the grass because of that flat tire.
Can't say she's done better than Natalie Decker. Can't prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I
Well-
mean, it's not hard to do that.
The chick had her first Xfinity start, finished dead last in 3
Made
laps.
it 3 laps.
Made it 3 laps. by
Was
the way.
there a reason for that?
Yeah, she blew an engine. She missed
Oh.
a gear.
Oh God. Is that actually what happened?
Yep.
Oh my.
She also was in a wreck in the front straightaway chicane, which I
So,
don't think was
yeah.
her fault really, but still, the reason why she DNF'd was her fault.
Oh,
Huh.
not only that, Riley Herbst proved why he's a no-talent piece of garbage.
Yeah, I missed everything, so I don't know about that either.
Riley Herbst went to avoid the wreck from AJ Allmendinger and Austin
Oh, yeah.
Cindric and said, "Fuck it, let me go straight left in the wet grass that's gonna tear up my race car and end up my day."
Oh no.
Yeah, he went to avoid the wreck and just drove himself straight into the grass.
only
and it
that,
ripped
his-
his front end apart.
His spotter told him to, and his spotter's Kevin Harvick's spotter. Like, God, what are you doing? Seriously,
feed
you
him
know
up?
it's wet. It's gonna kill the car. You already know it. Why have him do it?
Yeah, even when it's dry, it'll kill the car.
I feel bad for Tony. He's gonna pay more fucking insurance for that car than any other car on the team.
Yeah, but that's 2 weeks, 2 wrecked cars then. For
Shocker.
Stewart.
It's probably gonna be the whole rest of the season. If he
Yeah.
makes playoffs, he's gonna be a first round exit. Shocker.
It's
Get
gonna
out.
be nowhere near the performance level from Chase Briscoe.
The only reason he's in that car is because of sponsorship.
Yeah, do you think he even wins the race? I don't think so.
No.
He doesn't
Yeah.
even finish
He
in the
didn't
top
win against,
10.
he didn't win against equipment. What do you think? He's gonna win in
Daniel Hemrick will win in that car before he even freaking gets a win. And I like Daniel Hemrick. Daniel Hemrick is a good driver. He just can't win for some damn reason.
A lot of seconds.
I mean, if you want somebody that's consistent and is going to get a good finish in the car, freaking put Daniel Hemrick in it.
If you want a guy that,
That's what I've
that can
noticed.
win, don't put Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah, if you want a car that can win, don't put Daniel Hemrick in it. If you want a car that can finish top 5 consistently, don't put Daniel Hemrick in it.
Just don't rely on him to win a championship in a playoff format.
Maybe back in the old days, but yeah.
Old days, you never know. Yeah, but so I guess
Mid.
we kind of recapped everything
Yeah,
we
I
need
guess
to know
we,
about that. So I
Ran
had a
out of
poll.
breath.
I had a poll last week for the Daytona
There's
5.
also some slight drama that I want to bring up, but I don't know if you want to do that now or not.
I'll
I don't know
quickly
much about it, but
just
I-
mention the poll, and then we'll dive into that.
I'm running out of breath, Jay. I'm fat.
So we had 1,000 votes last week on the Daytona 500 on my YouTube channel for was the Daytona 500 a good race? 71% of you said yes. We were all very shocked.
All right,
Thought
do
the
me a
race was
favor, go on
terrible.
sub all 71% of you.
So we had a poll for was the 2021 Daytona Road Course a good race? At 990 votes currently, 89% say yes. So I like that. I think that was justified. So I'm just gonna once again, as we do every race we're gonna go through all of us and kind of give our rating out of 10. So I'll start it off. My rating, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Now we'll send it over to Jay.
So I was cruising Twitter.
Well, hold on. What was your rating though?
Oh,
We're gonna
goodness
get the
gracious,
ratings
I'm sorry, I
first.
wasn't paying attention. I was trying to find out what the stuff was about. The rating.
Yes.
Imagine.
Out of 10.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay. What about you, Matt?
Kind of a slow-ish
Same.
start, and then it got really good towards the end.
Yeah. It was looking more like a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 until the absolute clown show.
Still better than the 500, even with that.
This race,
Well, I mean,
this
yeah.
this thing was better than the 500.
It was a genuinely, like, even without the last 20 lap chaos, it was genuinely still a good race. But obviously, the last 20 laps made it, from an interest standpoint, a lot better.
What's your rating, Eddie?
Seriously.
From
Yeah, I'm not. I was gonna say, I don't know if you want to ask his.
Chase Elliott aside,
Besides the Chase Elliott shit,
just straight up competition.
straight up competition 9.
Okay. Okay.
Chase Elliott stuff 6.
Well, actually, I think that's still a solid rating.
It's better than 500. You can't say less, but freaking the whole Chase Elliott thing really just ruined it for me. My mother broke something in the living room. I have no idea what it is to this day. I broke something. I don't even know what the hell I threw. So, I mean, yeah, other than that, the racing was great. Everything else was great. Can't wait for Homestead where we're starting 11 and I don't even know what the fuck's going to happen.
All I'm saying is 7 road courses this year. I'm all for it. I think
At this point, I can't wait for Corey LaJoy to get his first career win next week because that's where it seems like it's heading.
You never know, right? So Jay says there's some drama going on that I must be missing on.
Jay's becoming the new TMZ.
Do you have anything?
The Tiger Woods related?
I'm trying to figure. Okay, it's related to the Xfinity Series and Junior Motorsports.
Don't tell me Natalie Decker got hired to Junior.
No, that would. Oh boy.
It's
Junior. Something to do with some like sponsorship inter team drama. Like the people who own Brandt are like low key shitting on Noah Gragson.
Why?
I also don't really. Apparently, something happened during the road course race.
I was gonna say they must have found the Bristol video finally about where Noah wrecked him.
I remember that.
I honestly can't really tell if it's something legit or if it's trolling, but yeah, it seems like maybe the owners of Brandt don't like Noah. I don't know.
But they don't even sponsor him, so like, is that going to turn into
Junior Motorsports though?
It is,
yeah,
but
it's
like
still Junior Motorsports. It's inter team, like. Plus, Brandt is a huge sponsor of that team too.
Dale Jr. just invested into the Nashville race for IndyCar.
Yeah, I saw that. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't sponsor the guys like straight up on his car, don't even deal with them. But so that kind of sums up the race. Denny Hamlin's timeline lately on Twitter over the last few days,
thick with 2 C's.
It's been
thick
so
with
good.
2 C's.
And he roasted like Kyle Petty. I saw.
Good.
Oh, that guy deserves to get roasted for just who the hell he is.
I can't stand Kyle Petty.
Dude's been popping off.
As just a commentator and his thoughts on the sport and everything.
There's Richard Petty, and then there's just absolutely no Petty.
Yeah, so Hamlin's been just dominating the Twitter
scene. I don't even know why Kyle Petty's an analyst.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He has some very interesting opinions, and he basically offers nothing good, and he also just is kind of a clown. So
he's an idiot.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why he's still involved in NASCAR.
But
he couldn't even finish in the top 20 when he freaking had Richard Petty equipment.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't have a
biggest disappointment for Dodge ever.
But there's our kind of recap of Daytona. So next week, Homestead, Miami, mile and a half track. Denny Hamlin won there last year. There was some late race stuff between Logano and Elliott, I remember. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this time around. Is this one a day race or a night race?
Night race. I think it goes from like mid-afternoon to night.
3 p.m. start.
3 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, so like
maybe a little bit of night if there's enough cautions or something.
Finally gonna see where everyone's at equipment-wise.
Yeah, I felt like the first 2 weeks were just not a good indicator.
Prove where everyone is at.
The 23 car, the 99, or the 2 I'm really watching to see. I mean, hopefully that both those cars are running good. I would like to see both of them succeed. So Bubba had a really rough Daytona road course race.
I think we can all agree that. I mean, should we just call our favorite right now for Homestead, low key?
Like, man, but then, I don't know. I would like to say.
You can just wing it. Don't have to be like on the dot.
Immediately, I think the pass Kyle Larson. But
hey, me too.
With the current package,
just, like, do your favorite and you do like your really long shot.
My really long shot.
Well, not like really
Chase
long, but just a
Briscoe.
long. All right, dude. No, just like a regular long shot, not like really long.
Tyler Reddick.
That's what.
That's a
goddamn.
good one. That's a that's a good one.
I don't think Chase Briscoe's a bad one. He can rip the top.
Yeah, no,
But
he
he
ain't.
doesn't have the experience. So,
All right, then who do you actually think might actually win the race?
Hamlin.
I think the 9 car wins.
I love you.
I'm not gonna. No, I want Hamlin to win, but I think the 9 car wins.
I actually think I'm actually gonna go with Denny for this, but my long shot to win, I'm gonna go Larson. I
That's
just
not a long
really.
shot. That's not a long shot at
Hey
all.
man, listen. I just the thing. Okay.
If your bias
Second
is showing,
favorite thing, freaking Larson. Okay, you can't yell at me. Stop yelling at me. I have feelings.
I guess I'll go with a different pick then. I'll choose Kevin Harvick. Can't forget how
Boo.
good he was last season, and obviously, definitely, he's always been good at mile and a half. So
Yeah, you remind me of like that elderly couple that just gets the same soup every day for lunch.
what?
Like your picks are like kind of the same.
hard to go off the beaten path, though.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I think my top 3, like I said, I want Hamlin to win. I think the 9 wins, but my top 3 picks, who I
Please.
think can rip the top really well at a track like Miami, I think Larson, I think Reddick, and the long one's Briscoe. But
I
yeah,
don't know if I want Chase to win because then I'm gonna go broke again.
they just unveiled the adrenaline shock scheme, which I want to say
Yeah, I'm broke.
really nice.
Yeah, thanks Chase Elliott store. Appreciate it. I'm broke
I think they
again.
could have done better though, but I still think it's a really nice scheme.
I think you guys are fantastic. Don't listen to what Gary said.
I think it's a good scheme. I just think they definitely could have improved it a bit. But yeah, I feel like they could have done something with like flames with adrenaline shock. But
Oh, I saw
Or,
people
like,
were
lightning.
like saying it was like copying the Dale Jr. Wrangler scheme he won with at Daytona. I don't see the comparison at all.
maybe like the couple
Uh,
stripes.
maybe
The lines.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
like
that-
thinking.
that's it.
That's literally it.
That's literally it. It's like, okay, dude, next.
But yeah, I mean, heck, that pretty much sums up most of the podcast. I mean, we don't actually have any questions for this one. I was looking through the questions. We don't got questions. So I think the last thing, you want to touch on something?
I guess there's 2 things. Well,
Oh dear.
I mean, F1 car liveries being shown off.
AlphaTauri looks
There's
terrible.
only really one to discuss about, and that's AlphaTauri. Red Bull,
Alfa
same.
Romeo.
Alfa
The
Romeo
Alpha,
inverted.
Hey,
I
dude,
like the Alpha. though.
Red Bull changed the look of the Red Bull logo. Okay, they just slightly moved the
Ooh,
horn a little bit
boy.
more
Oh,
sharper.
my
Oh yeah, and
God.
they moved Honda to the rear wing too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
they actually have
That's
some interesting
different.
They have arrow changes though, like the wing, the
Yeah,
the
the
wings
car
and
is
the
actually
rear.
skinnier and everything, which I've noticed so far with the actual cars that have been revealed. All the teams are doing that. Their floor is a lot skinnier than previous years. So.
And we know Aston Martin will just have the 2020 Mercedes to drop on us. So,
Yeah, I can't wait to go back to silver.
yeah, are they going back to silver paint scheme?
I really freaking hope so.
I like the black, man. The black.
I
is
Yeah,
like
I want the
silver
black to
more.
stay.
I want silver again. I like the
Dude.
silver.
Dude, the black's so good for them though, just because they're literally the evil empire.
I mean, it's like freaking. Well, yeah, but it's like freaking. I don't like going like to different changes. Like, it seems like every car is like almost dark. Besides, like, Alfa Romeo
I think
or
back to
Haas. Oh, what about
There's
Haas
literally
possibly getting the
Eddie, there's
BMW
literally
thing?
the
No,
bright
no,
red
it's
Ferrari
fine.
and then the blue and orange McLaren.
Hey
You're
man,
gonna
Jay,
try and tell me that our cars are dark?
some
Or
people
all
can
the
be
cars are dark?
Jay, some people can be colorblind.
Okay. I don't think the AlphaTauri is bad.
I
it's
think it's
not.
awful.
I like the AlphaTauri a lot. Gary just doesn't like
It's
it
got
'cause
too
it has
much.
curves.
The scheme, the paint
I
scheme
like
has
blue.
curves.
If
I
the
like blue.
colors were flipped, it would be better.
I did
blue.
see a flipped version and it looked more appealing.
Yes.
I want to see Haas go to BMW.
Alfa Romeo wasn't too bad. It's still similar, of course, but I think they pretty much just
That
flipped their
that scheme
colors.
is basically, yeah, they just basically inverted the
But
colors.
I
looks
thought
better.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it actually looked better.
Yeah, I like it too. It does look good.
And then of course Red Bull was the same thing. Pretty
I'm
much.
kinda- I'm, Except for AlphaTauri's, I'm kind of disappointed so far with the liveries that have been revealed because
Yeah.
McLaren the exact same, Alfa Romeo just inverted. I mean, technically AlphaTauri's is basically just inverted as well. It's same colors, pretty much same design.
It'll be very poor funding from the design department.
It'll be interesting to see what we get here in the coming weeks. So,
Must be
McLaren
hot.
unveiled theirs
Will
too, didn't
never,
they?
ever change
Yeah,
their scheme again.
McLaren was
freaking
yeah,
thing.
McLaren was very similar as well. So we haven't really gotten anything
I'll
radically
see that
new.
rumored Haas to be
It's not. It's
the
not.
pink.
It's confirmed now. Pink.
I wish. That would be freaking awesome.
I believe Williams was getting it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And then
So is that like a downgrade for George Russell, basically?
Russell's getting a big upgrade in 1 year, right?
Yeah,
Couple days.
true.
Yeah, for a fact, if he's not on Mercedes for the next gen or whatever,
Nah, dude, it's Verstappen.
I've heard that rumor going around.
God, can you imagine his team of Verstappen and Hamilton? Like
Hamilton's gonna be gone.
Well, no, I just want to see that happen though, just to see the sheer
It'd be interesting.
inner team competition that there would be.
Mercedes doesn't want another Nico incident.
No, yeah, it'll
I do.
happen, but
Be Verstappen and Bottas, and then Lewis Hamilton's gonna go over the Red Bull.
Right.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Okay, let's happen.
We'll see what happens.
God bless
think
America.
I know probably close to 10 minutes is going to be cut out just because we were getting set up. So it's going to be close to the longest one we've had so far. But yeah, like I said, no questions for this one. We'll make sure to get questions for the next one. But we just want to say, as usual, thank you to everybody for taking the time out of their day to come out and listen to our podcast, episode number 5. We are very grateful to Garrett Manes for coming in and coming to talk, I should say, to us on the podcast. And it was actually
Shout out Elliott Sadler Esports.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get Elliott Sadler on here. It was honestly really interesting to listen to him talk about some of the stuff. So
I think I would fangirl out if we got Elliott Sadler on the podcast. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna do what I can, Jay, to make it happen for you, just for you. So yeah, that will do it though for this episode of the podcast. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. If you're on any listening platform like Spotify, we really appreciate you listening on there, or YouTube as well. But that will do it.
We are taking sponsorships.
Yeah, absolutely. We are open to that, as we mentioned when we were talking to Garrett earlier. So thank you everybody for coming out, and we will see you guys around the same time next week. Hopefully we might have another guest in the works. Not fully confirmed on that, but we will see. So thank you all for watching or listening, and we see you guys next week. Have a great night, everybody.